Sarah, what do you think the risks are for businesses that are focusing on sustainability?
You really need resource to do it. So if you're doing that, it's going to drag away potentially from the short term. If you don't resource it up properly, you're not going to be focusing on the short term, which you've equally got to manage to keep viable. So that's one risk. The other risk really is the fact that there's going to be conflict within a business that's going to need to be managed, because we are moving from a position of, shareholder capitalism to stakeholder capitalism, and there will be people within your business or your advisors or your investors that won't be aligned. So you need to spend time up front getting the education and getting people on board with the idea and supporting the idea, to really minimize that kind of conflict, because if you have conflict, then it becomes harder to embed successfully.
Yeah, and I guess again, a CFO's role or a finance director's role is critical in that, because it can help shift organisations from that short-term profit focus to long-term sustainable future of the organisation, but also managing the cash and the liquidity of the organisation as they go through that transition and making sure that they do survive for them to thrive in the long term.
One of my core values and of Profit Impact is pragmatism, because we all want what's best for the future, but you've got to look at what's happening here and now. So you do need to have that pragmatic approach, and that's why it's really key for the finance leader to have that, and to guide the business through with confidence that, hey, it's good to look at the long term, but don't worry, guys, we're in control of the short term as well.
So Sarah, what do you think the biggest barriers are for finance professionals who want to be more focused on sustainability?
There are a few. At a real practical level, it's time. So within most finance teams, businesses, the long hours culture. So that is a big challenge. Then you then come to data collection, processes, reporting, systems. We're moving from measuring money to measuring environment and social. And there are no financial systems at all that measure all three. So you're going to have a lot of integration. But having said that, you can keep things simple at the beginning, and just keep things simple. Don't let that put you off. Start with your education and get the resource built in the thinking space, and start your journey. That would be my advice.
Yeah, I feel like in many ways it's easier for a smaller startup or scale up to embed really good processes early on than it is for a large corporate trying to go back. But I guess for the large corporates, it feels like there must be a place to have, a non-month-end team that's solely focused on sustainability, perhaps working with a director of sustainability to ensure all the measurements and captures and reporting is done effectively. Is that how you see it potentially working in a large corporate?
I see it fully integrated.
Yeah.
I would say you'd likely have, particularly at the beginning, you'd need 1, 2, 3, depending on the size of the company, finance people in your team dedicated to getting the information and setting the measures, and verifying. So that's the bit at the moment that I don't see enough verification of, and that's where finance can really step in and help. So so not necessarily separate, more integrated, but allocated resource.